With that being said, let's get back into what Lacey, the foreperson on the Donna Adelson trial, had to say about Wendy. Now, this is going to be really interesting because I know as we went throughout this trial, and even as we were getting up to deliberations and as we were getting ready to read the verdict, everyone was talking about Wendy. We were talking about Wendy. The chat was talking about Wendy. People were putting out videos about Wendy. We want to know what's going to happen to Wendy. So now, foreperson, Lacey is going to talk about what they thought, the jury thought about Wendi Adelson's involvement and if she's going to be next. Let's see what she says.
Long story short, but also probably long at the same time. Yes. Yes, I do. And do I think she is next? Do I think Harvey might be next? Absolutely, I do. Now, the state hasn't said that specifically, but there's evidence showing that they were aware of what happened. And I mean, I had to think back and take my notes because, well, like write down new notes. We couldn't take the notes that we took during the trial out of that jury room. They get disposed after deliberations. Minor details. Now, if and when the state goes after Wendy, I think they will. I think it's going to be to a lesser degree. It's not going to be the same charges, only because she insulated herself from her family, from the situation very, very well. Very well.
Oh, y'all are saying it's hard to hear. I disagree with that.
Stop the cap.
And I hate to interrupt her here. Y'all are saying the volume's a little bit low, so let me fix that. I disagree with Wendy insulating herself. I don't think she did. I think Wendy made some mistakes. I think she made a lot of mistakes, and we saw some of them throughout the trial. I mean, her communication with her mother, what she had to say about Jeff, her boyfriend, who she said that she hid and never introduced to her family, but Jeff said that he met her family. Then the way she was talking about Jeff to Rob, the way she was talking about Jeff to Charlie. Then the TV's breaking issue. Then Wendy wanted Jeff to do certain things, and Jeff felt like Wendy was trying to set him up.
What?
I think Wendy, she was smart in the way that she moved, but I don't think she completely insulated herself. I would disagree with that point.
Very, very well. Very well. And she also played dumb very well. I feel like that's when we saw the acting that Miss Donna referred to previously. She plays that part way too good. So I do think that she will be next. I just don't know to what extent. I don't know what she will be indicted on, but she was 100% involved. 100%. Because how would they know Dan's routine, right? Obviously they were given his address, whatever. But the killers, the hitmen, they would have needed some sort of insight as to where they can find him. Like what he would be doing, all of that, right? It's crazy. Also, her whole testimony in her mom's trial, I don't remember. I don't remember 500 sips of water. That has guilt written all over it. Anyone who knows anything about like interpersonal communication or body language.
Oh, here we go with the body language.
Guilt, okay. I honestly, I don't
I
know
agree.
to be honest with you, but it's whatever. Neither here nor there right now. As far as did we discuss that in the jury room during deliberations? Not necessarily. We just described we discussed things about her relating to her testimony and just like things in regard to the case because we had to stay on point. You know, that's what we were there to discuss. So not so much if we think she's next, but after we were released from our service, walking back, being escorted by the bailiffs to the where we parked and stuff. It was very interesting to hear everyone's opinions because at that point in time we were allowed to talk about it because we were dismissed from the jury, whatever. Everyone agrees. She's probably gonna be next. We just don't know to what extent. Because yeah, like I said, she insulated herself from the situation and her family way too good. Like I said, she plays the role of dumb, and you know that term ignorance is bliss. Like she is taking that to a whole new level. Now.
Yeah, she's got it sped up. It's not me, guys.
In her
I don't know why she has it like that.
The morning that Dan was shot, right? She was going to meet some friends for lunch, but she had to stop by the liquor store for like a stock at the bar party later on, whatever. Now, the liquor store she chose was completely out of the way. The route she took completely out of the way. There was that exact liquor store that was closer to her house and in the complete opposite direction, but she chose to go this very long route out of the way. and says she normally takes Trescott Drive, so she goes to try to turn, but there was the roadblock because at that point in time, law enforcement had arrived on scene. Dan was rushed to the hospital, yada, yada, yada.
Mm-hmm.
She says she encountered the roadblock, turned around real quick, and just like went a different way through the liquor store. Then they also brought in another witness. The state brought in another witness, the officer who was working like at the roadblock, basically. And he states, which contradicts what Wendy said, that you could see Dan's house, the crime scene, all of the police cars and EMS, whoever else was there, right? You could see that from the house, from the roadblock. And whereas she claimed
of course she lied.
So knowing that, he also identified her car in the trial during his testimony. He saw her car, and most people, like when they get to a roadblock, they gotta turn slowly to get, like, we're like, oh, what's going on, like processing it. No, she like whipped in and out, right?
Again, this is a great call out by this Foreperson, because if something's going on and there's a roadblock leading to your house, are you not gonna stop and ask the police what's going on? You're gonna say, hey, can y'all tell me what address you're going to? What's the issue here? That's, again, weird that you would just whip around unless you have something going on. All right, I've seen this happen. I personally had this happen to where there's a roadblock blocking off an entire road. And I did the same thing. That's what I did. I stopped and I said, hey, y'all, what's going on? Like, I'm about 2 rows down. I'm trying to get to the house. Y'all got this whole thing blocked off. What's happening? Or you can go and at least look up in the neighborhood and the neighborhood group on Facebook or something, when he's just like, oh, well, I guess I'll just go somewhere else. Crazy.
And now knowing that she could see the house and she didn't make any calls to.
Actually, if y'all are saying it's hard to hear, I can slow it down since she's got the fast speaking filter on. Hold on.
The daycare to Dan to check on him, the kids. No.
I'll rewind it a little bit.
But she chose to go this very long route out of the way, and says she normally takes Trescott Drive, so she goes to try to turn, but there was the roadblock because at that point in time, law enforcement had arrived on scene. Dan was rushed to the hospital, yada, yada, yada. She says she encountered the roadblock, turned around real quick, and just like went a different way through the liquor store. Then they also brought in another witness. The state brought in another witness, the officer who was working like at the roadblock, basically. And he states, which contradicts what Wendy said, that you could see Dan's house, the crime scene, all of the police cars and EMS, whoever else was there, right? You could see that from the house, from the roadblock. And whereas she claimed you couldn't see it. So, knowing that, he also identified her car in the trial during his testimony. He saw her car, and most people, like when they get to a roadblock, they gotta turn slowly to get, like, we're like, oh, what's going on, like processing it. No, she like whipped in and out, right?
She knew what happened.
And now knowing that she could see the house and she didn't make any calls to the daycare to Dan.
She's probably smiling while she turned the car around.
Calls to law enforcement to see if anything was okay. Like, come on. It just doesn't add up. It doesn't add up at all. What else do I have? And then her ex-boyfriend, Jeff Lacasse, testifying.
There he goes. Yep, Jeff.
I will say, I think it's very weird that she told him about the hitman thing in confidence, and then he didn't report it. But, again, it's, what are you going to do at this point? But that's one thing, like, towards the end of their relationship, they were discussing, like the relocation thing, because apparently that Wendy always talked about that, and like the divorce file, yada, yada, yada.
Jeff was going to be the scapegoat.
She said, well, can I tell you something in confidence? And she said, yeah, my brother looked into that hitman thing, because at that point in time, he was there to witness a joke from Charlie, like, oh, a TV is cheaper than a hitman or something like that. I'm getting off track. Anyway. Anyway, his testimony, like, basically the last time that they got together, July 11th, 2014, they met up somewhere. I think it was hot yoga. And
they went to hot yoga?
What? Basically, he, at that point in time, knew the relationship was over. So he, like, literally, like, backed off as they were leaving, whatever. Didn't say anything. But then Wendy turns around and asks him very weird and specific questions about his travel plans in the coming days. And with that, the first time the hitman had come to Tallahassee, they rented a car, a Nissan, that looked just like Jeff's car at that time. And that point in time too, she was asking specific questions about his travel. So, it's just a little weird. I think she was trying to set him up. And all the details that they had, she had to have provided it. I mean, obviously. And then, let's see what else. Calling her kids by her last name before Dan was ever shot. And then legally changing their last name and the older one's middle name.
I don't think that's a big deal, to be honest. And that's most definitely not evidence. I mean, she was obviously bitter. She hated Dan. Donna hated Dan. Everybody hated Dan except Rob. Rob was just like, can I go back to New York? So I don't think her changing the name. Yeah, was it spiteful? But it's not really evidence to me. And someone says, if they're going to arrest Wendy, it won't be based off of this. I agree. It's too much reasonable doubt. If they have more texts they have not shown that are damning, then they will use that. And that's exactly what I've been saying. Wendy really did a good job covering her tracks. There are a few things that are hard, cold evidence that could be used. But with Jeff feeling like she was setting him up, okay, maybe he felt that way, but she didn't set him up. With the TV being broken the day before Dan was going to serve or put in legal documents that Wendy was committing fraud, and he ended up dead. Again, how was Wendy connected to that? How would she know? Donna's the one that booked the appointment to get the TV fixed. What would have happened then? We'll probably never know that.
Middle name and last name 1 year after he died. Also with that, she didn't take the kids to his funeral. That's a little strange. Yeah. They both, Wendy and Harvey, both knew. They didn't say anything. That is a crime in itself. And I do think they're next. I'm just curious to see.
What do y'all think? Let me know. Foreperson speaks out. Saw everything that we saw, came to the same conclusion. That's why I think it's so important for us to have this platform, to have these conversations, because again, as we're watching, we're seeing everything that the jury's saying. And then we would potentially have to go back and deliberate on this just like they would. So it's important, I think, to have these conversations. And it's interesting that even the jury saw this as they were going throughout the trial. Let me know what y'all think about this.